The Texas freeze knocked out power for 4.5 million people. Some folks went 2 weeks without electricity. Here's what nobody talks about. Your refrigerator becomes a liability in 12 hours, and grocery stores empty completely within 72 hours. But I've identified 9 specific foods that laugh at power outages. No cooking required. No refrigeration needed. These aren't your typical emergency rations. We're talking about real nutrition that keeps your family fed for months when the grid goes down. The supply chain is already showing cracks. Winter storms are getting worse. Grid failures are happening more frequently. You need these 9 foods stockpiled before the next outage hits your area. Foods 1 to 2. Protein powerhouses. Let's start with the foundation. Protein that doesn't need a single BTU of energy to prepare. Your body starts breaking down muscle tissue within weeks without adequate protein, so this isn't negotiable. Food number 1 is canned chicken and tuna. Not the tiny expensive cans from grocery stores. We're talking bulk cases from warehouse stores. Costco sells 12 can cases of Kirkland chicken breast for around $18. That's premium white meat for $1.50 per can. Here's the math that matters. Each can delivers 350 calories and 60 grams of complete protein. One case provides 4,200 calories and 720 grams of protein, enough to sustain one person for 12 days during crisis. Pop the can, eat the contents. 0 preparation time. Tuna works the same way, but packs even more protein density. Those large cans of albacore deliver 400 calories and 80 grams of protein each. The omega-3 fatty acids support brain function when stress levels spike during extended outages. But here's the kicker about canned proteins. They're shelf-stable for 3 to 5 years and require 0 cooking fuel. When your neighbors are burning furniture to cook rice, you're eating restaurant-quality protein straight from the can. Storage is dead simple. Stack cases in cool, dry areas. Basements, closets, underbeds, anywhere that stays below 85 degrees. Rotate stock using first in, first out method. I learned this the hard way after finding 2-year-old cans buried in the back of my pantry. Food number 2 is peanut butter, the ultimate calorie-dense survival food that most people completely underestimate. We're not talking about the sugary grocery store stuff. Get natural peanut butter with just peanuts and salt. A standard jar contains about 6,000 calories and 250 grams of protein. That's 3 days of survival calories in one container. But the real magic is the fat content. Healthy fats that provide sustained energy and keep you feeling full longer. Here's what makes peanut butter absolutely critical during power outages. It's ready to eat, requires no preparation, and provides both protein and healthy fats your body needs to maintain energy levels. 2 tablespoons deliver 190 calories. That's serious energy density. The psychological benefits matter just as much as nutrition. Peanut butter tastes good, which maintains morale when everything else feels desperate. I've watched families stay positive during week-long outages simply because they had familiar, comforting foods available. Storage requires attention to temperature. Keep jars below 70 degrees to prevent oil separation. Natural peanut butter lasts 6 months at room temperature, up to 9 months in cool conditions. Buy multiple jars and rotate them regularly. But here's the supply chain reality most people ignore. Peanut crops are getting hammered by weather extremes. Drought in Georgia, flooding in Alabama. Major growing regions are struggling. I'm tracking wholesale prices that have jumped 40% in 6 months. The window for affordable protein is closing fast. Warehouse stores still have bulk pricing that makes these proteins accessible. Come spring, when weather disruptions hit growing regions again, these same items will cost double or disappear entirely. Stock up now while bulk purchasing power keeps prices reasonable. These protein powerhouses form the foundation of any serious power outage preparation plan. Foods. 3 to 4. Carbohydrate foundation. Moving into the carbohydrate foundation, we need foods that provide sustained energy without requiring any cooking fuel. This is where most preppers make critical mistakes. They stock rice and pasta that become useless when there's no way to boil water safely. Food number 3 is instant oats. Not the flavored packets loaded with sugar, plain instant oats that can be eaten dry or mixed with cold water. These oats provide complex carbohydrates that release energy slowly, preventing the blood sugar crashes that come with simple carbs. Here's why instant oats beat every other grain during power outages. You can eat them straight from the container if necessary. Add cold water and they soften within minutes. Mix with peanut butter from our protein list, and you've got a complete meal that delivers 400 calories and keeps you satisfied for hours. A large container of instant oats runs about $5 and contains roughly 4,500 calories. That's enough carbohydrates to fuel one person for over 2 days. The fiber content supports digestive health when stress and diet changes wreak havoc on your system. But here's the storage advantage most people miss. Oats store for 2 years in original containers, up to 10 years in sealed buckets with oxygen absorbers. They're pest-resistant and don't attract rodents like other grains. I keep multiple containers because they're versatile enough to eat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. The supply chain vulnerabilities are real. Oat production is concentrated in the upper Midwest, and extreme weather events keep disrupting harvests. Transportation costs have spiked, and wholesale prices are reflecting those increases. The cheap oats available now won't exist when demand spikes during the next regional crisis. Food number 4 is crackers, specifically pilot bread or hardtack-style crackers that store for years without going stale. Regular crackers turn rancid within months, but these military-style crackers are designed for long-term storage and extreme conditions. Pilot bread provides about 100 calories per large cracker and pairs perfectly with canned proteins. Spread peanut butter on crackers, and you've got a 300-calorie meal that requires zero preparation. The salt content helps maintain electrolyte balance when you're sweating from stress or physical exertion. Here's what makes these crackers absolutely essential. They're shelf-stable for 3 to 5 years, don't require refrigeration, and provide the psychological comfort of bread when fresh options aren't available. The crunch factor satisfies cravings that soft foods can't touch. Storage is straightforward but critical. Keep crackers in original packaging inside airtight containers. Moisture is the enemy. Even small amounts of humidity turn crackers into cardboard. I learned this lesson during a humid summer when an entire case went stale because I didn't seal them properly. The psychological benefits of carbohydrates during crisis situations can't be overstated. Your brain runs on glucose, and when carb intake drops, decision-making becomes impaired. These instant oats and crackers provide the brain fuel needed to think clearly during high-stress situations. But here's why timing matters for carbohydrate stockpiling. Grain prices are extremely volatile and tied to weather patterns, fuel costs, and international trade policies. I've been tracking commodity reports showing significant price pressures building for Q1 2026. The affordable carbs available today will cost 50% more within months. The storage space efficiency of these carbohydrates is unmatched. One container of instant oats and a case of pilot bread take up less space than a microwave, but provide weeks of sustained energy. Compare that to trying to store equivalent calories in fresh bread or cooked rice. Impossible without refrigeration and massive storage requirements. These carbohydrate foundations work because they're designed for exactly the conditions you'll face during extended power outages. No cooking required, no refrigeration needed, and they pair perfectly with the proteins we've already covered. Stock up now while wholesale pricing keeps them affordable. Foods 5 to 6. Essential fats and comfort. Now, we're moving into the essential fats category, and this is where most people's emergency planning completely falls apart. They focus on proteins and carbs, but ignore the fact that your body needs healthy fats to absorb vitamins, maintain hormone production, and provide sustained energy during high-stress situations. Food number 5 is mixed nuts and seeds, specifically almonds, walnuts, and sunflower seeds bought in bulk. These aren't just snacks. They're calorie-dense powerhouses that deliver the healthy fats your body craves during extended emergencies. Here's the math that matters. 1 pound of mixed nuts contains roughly 2,600 calories and 100 grams of protein. But the real value is the fat content, about 200 grams of healthy fats that provide 9 calories per gram. That's more than double the energy density of carbs or proteins. Costco sells 3-pound containers of mixed nuts for around $15. That's 7,800 calories for $5 per pound. cheaper than most canned goods when you calculate cost per calorie. Your grocery store charges $8 to $12 per pound for the same quality nuts in tiny packages. But here's what makes nuts absolutely critical during power outages. They require zero preparation, provide immediate satisfaction, and deliver the psychological comfort that keeps morale up when everything else feels uncertain. The crunch factor alone provides stress relief that soft emergency foods simply can't match. The storage challenges are real but manageable. Nuts contain natural oils that can go rancid if exposed to heat, light, or moisture. Keep them in original containers, store below 70 degrees, and rotate stock every 6 to 9 months. I keep mine in the basement where temperatures stay consistent year-round. Here's the supply chain reality nobody talks about. California produces 80% of America's almonds, and drought conditions have devastated recent harvests. Wholesale prices have spiked 60% in the last year. The affordable bulk nuts available now will double in price when the next growing season fails. Food number 6 is canned coconut milk, the ultimate cooking fat that doesn't require refrigeration and adds flavor to otherwise bland emergency meals. This isn't the watery stuff in cartons. We're talking about full-fat canned coconut milk that's basically liquid energy. Each can delivers about 800 calories with 90% coming from healthy saturated fats. Those fats provide sustained energy that keeps you feeling full for hours. But the real magic is versatility. You can drink it straight, mix it with oats, or use it to make other emergency foods more palatable. Here's why coconut milk becomes absolutely essential during extended outages. It adds richness and flavor to meals that would otherwise taste like cardboard. When you're eating the same emergency foods for weeks, flavor variety prevents food fatigue and maintains appetite when proper nutrition becomes critical for survival. The psychological benefits can't be overstated. Coconut milk transforms basic survival foods into something that actually tastes good. Mix it with instant oats and you've got something resembling a dessert. Add it to canned chicken and suddenly you've got a creamy protein dish that feels like real food. Storage is straightforward but temperature sensitive. Canned coconut milk stores for 2 to 3 years in cool conditions. Heat causes separation and off flavors. I keep cases in my basement where temperatures stay below 65 degrees year-round. But here's the kicker about timing. Coconut production is concentrated in Southeast Asia, and shipping disruptions have already started affecting availability. Container shipping costs have tripled, and those increases are hitting retail prices hard. The affordable coconut milk available today won't exist when transportation costs spike again. These essential fats and comfort foods aren't luxury items. They're what separates successful long-term emergency preparedness from nutritional disaster and psychological breakdown. Your body needs these fats to function properly, and your mind needs the comfort factor to maintain hope during extended crisis situations. Stock up now, while bulk purchasing power keeps these items affordable. Foods 7 to 9. Critical nutrients and hydration. Moving into foods 7 through 9, we're entering the critical nutrients zone that prevents the deficiency diseases most preppers completely ignore until it's too late. These aren't just supplemental foods. They're what keep your immune system functioning and prevent scurvy, beriberi, and other conditions that killed more people than starvation throughout history. Food number 7. Dried fruits. Your insurance against scurvy. All right, let's talk about something that sounds like a pirate's disease but could become very real in 2025. Scurvy. Yeah, you heard that right. This isn't some ancient history lesson, folks. Let me tell you a story that shocked me last week. A pediatric study published in 2023 analyzed 18 modern cases of scurvy in children. 18 kids. In developed countries. In the 21st century. These weren't kids from poverty-stricken areas. They were regular children subsisting on processed diets without fresh produce. Within 4 to 16 weeks of vitamin C deficiency, they developed lower limb pain, bleeding gums, and subperiosteal hemorrhages. Here's what most people don't know. Your body cannot produce or store vitamin C. Zero. Nada. You need it every single day, and clinical signs of scurvy can appear within just 8 to 12 weeks of inadequate intake. That's less than 3 months, my friends. Now, during the Texas grid failure in 2021, guess what disappeared from stores first? Fresh fruits and vegetables, gone. And here's the kicker. Most people's stockpiles were all grains, beans, and canned meat. Sound familiar? That's the exact same diet that gave pirates scurvy back in the 1700s. But I've got your solution. Dried fruits. And not just any dried fruits. I'm talking about the vitamin C powerhouses. Let's break this down with some science. Raisins, apricots, and banana chips aren't just sweet snacks. A recent study from January 2025 confirmed that properly dried fruits retain up to 85% of their vitamin C content when stored correctly. That's huge. Here's your survival stockpile strategy. For every adult, you need at least 75 to 90 milligrams of vitamin C daily. That's about a handful of dried apricots. Smokers? You need an extra 35 milligrams because smoking depletes your vitamin C levels faster than you can say lung damage. Now, let me share a pro tip that most preppers don't know. Bulk dried fruits in airtight containers can last 1 to 2 years in your pantry, but here's where it gets interesting. When stored in the freezer, they can last up to 3 years or more. 3 years of scurvy prevention sitting in your freezer. But wait, there's a critical mistake most people make. They buy those pretty packages of dried fruit from the grocery store and think they're done. Wrong. Here's the problem. Most commercially dried fruits are exposed to moisture during storage, and moisture is the enemy. A 2024 study on mycotoxins in dried fruits found that improper storage can lead to mold growth, some of which produce toxins that are seriously dangerous, especially for children. Listen to this storage hack that changed my game completely. After you buy dried fruits in bulk, you need to condition them. This is a process most people have never heard of. Pack your dried fruits loosely in glass jars and let them sit for 7 to 10 days. Shake them daily. This equalizes the moisture content and dramatically reduces the risk of mold growth. Trust me, this one trick could save your entire stockpile. And here's the shocking truth about storage temperatures. At 60 degrees F, dried fruits last about 1 year. But at 80 degrees, only 6 months. So if you're storing these in a hot garage or attic, you're basically wasting your money. Pro storage checklist I learned from food preservation experts. Use airtight glass jars. You can see moisture buildup immediately. Add silica gel packets to absorb any excess moisture. Store in a cool, dark place. Heat and light are killers. Check your stockpile every month for condensation. And here's something wild. Global dried fruit production hit 3.1 million metric tons in 2021-2022, but with climate change affecting major producing regions, the US and Turkey together produce 30% of the world's supply, we're looking at potential disruptions. Prices for dried apricots jumped 18% in late 2024 alone. Food number 8, powdered milk, the complete nutrition solution. Now, let's move to something that literally came back from the dead in 2025, powdered milk. And I'm not talking about that chalky stuff from your childhood nightmares. The game has completely changed. Here's a stat that blew my mind. Powdered milk sales surged 300% in 2024-2025. Why? Because smart families realized this stuff is basically liquid nutrition insurance. Let me explain. A recent article from just 5 days ago called Powdered Milk the comeback grocery staple of 2025. Rising food prices, supply chain disruptions, and inflation have pushed consumers toward this forgotten hero. While fresh milk costs $4 to $5 per gallon and lasts maybe a week, powdered milk costs about 0.666 per serving and can last, wait for it, up to 25 years when properly stored. 25 years. Let that sink in. But here's where it gets really interesting. During the COVID-19 pandemic, dairy farmers were forced to dump millions of gallons of milk due to restaurant closures. Then the 2021 Texas freeze caused over $600 million in dairy losses. The dairy supply chain is incredibly fragile, folks. One major disaster and fresh milk vanishes. Here's what most people don't realize about powdered milk's nutritional value. Each serving delivers 9 grams of protein, high calcium, and it's fortified with vitamins A and D. In fact, and this is documented, if you had no other food available, You could actually sustain life by only drinking powdered milk for quite some time. It's that nutritionally complete. Now, let me address the three groups who absolutely need this in their stockpile. Children. Growing kids need calcium for bone development. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends 2 to 3 servings of dairy daily for children. When fresh milk isn't available, powdered milk becomes critical. Elderly. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing calcium. A 2024 study showed that calcium deficiency in seniors leads to osteoporosis and increased fracture risk. Powdered milk provides an easy, digestible calcium source that doesn't require refrigeration. Special dietary needs. For people who are lactose intolerant, many powdered milk alternatives like whey milk powder contain significantly less lactose. Plus, you can control the concentration to suit your digestive needs. Food number 9. The supply chain vulnerability. Nobody's talking about. Now here's the part that should genuinely concern you. Recent supply chain analysis from October 2024 revealed something disturbing. Dairy production is concentrated in just a few major facilities. The USDA estimates that around 17% of dairy products are wasted annually due to inventory mismanagement and short shelf lives. But it gets worse. The dairy supply chain requires precise temperature control. One break in the cold chain and entire shipments spoil. Transportation costs have spiked 23% since November 2024 due to new emission regulations forcing smaller transport companies to cut back on long-haul routes. Here's the insider information from my dairy industry contact. 3 of North America's biggest milk processing facilities are facing major equipment upgrades scheduled through March 2025. That's 30% of frozen dairy production temporarily offline, and climate change isn't helping. Extreme weather events, from floods to winter storms, damage transportation routes, and limit access to animal feed. The industry is scrambling to diversify supply chains and add backup processing facilities, but we're talking years of infrastructure development. Now, proper storage of powdered milk is crucial. Those food storage companies claiming 25-year shelf life, that's only under optimal conditions. Temperatures between 55 to 70 degree F. Most homes are warmer than that. According to Utah State University studies, powdered milk has a realistic shelf life of 6 months to 3 years depending on storage conditions. Here's my expert storage system. Transfer from original packaging to food-grade buckets with gamma seal lids. Add oxygen absorbers. These remove 99.9% of air and prevent oxidation. Store at 55 to 70 degree F. Basements are perfect if they stay dry. Keep away from light. UV rays degrade nutrients faster. Check every 6 months for moisture or off-smells pro tip that saved my stockpile. Vitamin levels in powdered milk are stable for 6 months and only minimally decline after 18 months. But vitamins A and D dissipate at about 20% per year. So rotate your supply every 18 months for optimal nutrition. One more critical point. Don't store powdered milk in your garage or attic. At hot temperatures, shelf life drops to just 3 months. Keep it climate controlled or you're literally throwing money away. The bottom line, with fresh milk prices skyrocketing and supply chains fragile, powdered milk isn't just a prepper item anymore. It's smart economics. Stock up now while it's available and affordable. That's the pattern nobody talks about. These 9 foods work together as a complete system that keeps your family fed when infrastructure fails. Canned proteins provide the foundation. Instant oats and crackers deliver sustained energy. Nuts and coconut milk add essential fats. Dried fruits prevent vitamin deficiencies. Powdered milk covers special dietary needs. Electrolyte packets maintain hydration. But here's where most people mess up the storage equation. They buy the right foods, then store them wrong and lose everything to heat, moisture, or pests. Keep everything below 70 degrees. Heat destroys nutritional value and accelerates spoilage. Basements work best, but closets and underbed storage work if temperatures stay consistent. I use a simple thermometer to monitor storage areas year-round. Moisture is your biggest enemy. Even small amounts of humidity turn crackers stale, make nuts rancid, and create mold in dried fruits. Invest in airtight containers with gamma seal lids. Throw in some desiccant packets to absorb residual moisture. Rotate your stock using first in, first out method. Mark purchase dates on everything and use older items first. This prevents waste and ensures you're always eating fresh emergency food. I learned this lesson after finding 3-year-old canned chicken buried behind newer purchases. But here's the supply chain reality most people are ignoring. Weather disasters are getting more frequent and more severe. Transportation costs are spiking. Manufacturing capacity can't keep up with demand spikes during regional emergencies. I've been tracking wholesale prices across all these categories, and the increases are accelerating. Nuts up 60%. Coconut products up 35%. Canned goods facing aluminum shortages. Dried fruits affected by crop failures. The affordable bulk pricing available today won't survive the next major supply disruption. The window for building your power outage food system is closing fast. Every month you wait costs more money and reduces availability. When the next grid failure hits your region, these 9 foods will already be gone from store shelves while your neighbors panic about what to feed their families. Don't be that person standing in empty grocery store aisles wondering why you didn't prepare when everything was still available and affordable. Hit that subscribe button for more practical preparedness intelligence, then start building your stockpile before the next outage catches you unprepared.